Do you think you can actually get this done in a rescission package, and how much money do you think you can get back?
Well, this goes to another huge legal question. Can the president impound money, or does he have to send it back and we approve the cuts through rescission? And this is going all the way to the Supreme Court also, because I think the Trump administration believes they can just not spend it. There's another question within the question: can the president and his people, can Secretary Rubio pause the spending? On that issue, I think they will win. You will be able to pause spending as long as you don't go through the end of an appropriations year. If you get through that, I believe it's impoundment, and I think the courts so far have said it has to come back, unless, as the Trump administration argues, that the Impoundment Act is unconstitutional. So this one's headed to the Supreme Court also. It is my personal belief we should adhere to the law as it is now, and that is send it back and have Congress confirm it. It's a simple majority vote. It's called rescission. I did mention this to Elon Musk. He seemed enthusiastic. It can be done. No Democrats, you have to realize, no Democrats will cut one penny from any spending anywhere. But can we get all the Republicans is a real question.
You can get 51 Republicans, you think, to get on board with this?
Well, I think the president is going to have to use effectively his bully pulpit and his popularity to convince all Republicans to do it. It's not a given that Republicans will vote for this. We tried it once in the first administration. It was only $15 billion, and we lost. We lost two Republicans. But my suggestion to the Trump administration is come to the Republicans who you suspect might have misgivings and convince them in advance. Don't put it in their lap. Bring them $500 billion, and if they say this $10 billion I can't deal with, I can deal with the $490, you're going to have to pre-negotiate the rescissions package. But I think you could get there.
I want to ask you about the Department of Education. States, as everyone I think knows, provide the majority of the funding and oversight for your local schools. But Kentucky, when we looked at the numbers, gets the fourth most federal education funding per student of any state in this country. You have over 900 schools that have these Title I programs, which are low-income schools who need that federal subsidy to continue to operate. How are schools going to get that money if the president closes the education department?
I think the bigger question, if we're sending all this money to Kentucky and all the other states, why are our scores abysmal? Why do 2/3 of the kids not read at proficiency? Why do 2/3 of the kids or more not have math proficiency? So
Isn't that up to the state?
It's been an utter failure. What I'd like to, let me finish. I'd leave it back to the states. It has always been a position, a very mainstream Republican position, to have control of the schools by the states, send the money back to the states, or better yet, never take it from the states. About half of our budget in Kentucky goes to education, and that's the same in a lot of states. I think we can handle it much better. When I talk to teachers, they chafe at the national mandates on testing they think are not appropriate for their kids. They think they waste too much time teaching to national testing. The teachers would like more autonomy, and I think the teachers deserve more autonomy.
But when we looked at the budget in Kentucky, the state receives $2 billion in federal education funding. Do you have a guarantee that the federal government, federal taxpayers, will still provide $2 billion in education funding? That seems important to your state.
I'd rather, well, no, what I'd rather is a guarantee that my kids can read and write and do math. The amount of dollars, look, the number of dollars has gone up exponentially, and our scores have gone the other way. So dollars are not proportional to educational success. What I want is success. And I've talked a lot about this. I think there are innovations we can do where there's more learning via some of the best teachers, and we pay them more. I would like to have an NBA or NFL of teachers, the most extraordinary teachers, teach the entire country.
Who would run that? The education department?
And some of them, no, what you'd find is they'd be selected out, state by state, across the nation. Look, people say, oh, with the Department of Education would have no testing. I was in school before then. We did achievement tests in the 6th grade, the 5th grade, the 8th grade, and we compared ourselves across state lines. There were international testing. You don't need the Department of Education for any of that. But what I can tell you is the best teacher in the world is not teaching the kids. What we need to do is have the best teachers and pay them more, but they wouldn't teach 30 kids. They might teach 10 million kids at a time, because it would be presented through the internet with local teachers reinforcing the lessons.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about this. Senator Paul, thank you for your time today. We'll be right back.